It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. According to the World Health Organization, 1 out of 3 women and 1 out of 2 men will face a cancer diagnosis. Today's guest, Ty Bollinger, takes this personally, having lost his entire family to cancer. Ty refused to accept the notion that chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery were the most effective treatments available for cancer patients. Ty returns to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life to talk about alternative cancer treatment options. He's the author of the book, The Truth About Cancer, in which he shares knowledge to protect, treat, and in some cases save our lives or the lives of those we love. His documentary miniseries, The Truth About Cancer, A Global Quest, has received over 5 million views to date. Welcome, Ty. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much, Joan. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Ty, in last week's show, we talked about cancer and the way that it's viewed and traditionally treated within the medical industry. Today, we're going to focus on some alternative options that are available to cancer patients. So, what are some things that people should be exploring after they hear those words, "you have cancer"?
Sure. And then that leads me to, it's just a great real-life story of a good friend of mine. His name is Chris Wark. He was diagnosed with allegedly terminal colon cancer. I think it was 12 years ago now. He was 26 years old at the time. And they told him, you're going to do chemo radiation. It's probably not going to work. And there's not a lot that we're going to be able to, you've got a 15% chance of living, I think were the statistics. So Chris said, you know what, I'm not going to go with this protocol. I'm too young to die. And he just changed his diet. He started juicing organic fruits and vegetables, and he started eating these huge, what he called cancer-fighting salads, which have all of these cruciferous vegetables in them and just everything natural. He went completely raw for 6 months, didn't eat any cooked foods, drank juice, ate salads. Guess what? 6 months later, his cancer's gone. It's like, wow, this is a miracle. Well, no, it's not really a miracle, because what happened? Well, what happened was Chris stopped putting things into his body. He ate a lot of fast food and junk food and stuff before. He stopped putting things into his body that were causing cancer, and he started putting nutrition in his body that would help fight cancer. And when you do that, it's not really a miracle. It's just the way the body works. So I would admonish anybody, if you want to prevent cancer or treat cancer, the first thing on your list should be stop eating the junk that may have created it or that will create it, and start eating the food that will nourish your body and allow the immune system to work the way it's supposed to. That's just a basic in any treatment protocol. And, it's funny, we look at that as being alternative, but, using food as medicine goes all the way back to Hippocrates. That's not really alternative. That's really traditional, isn't it? That's what we've been doing for a long time.
Well, look, Dr. Mark Hyman, he says to stop going to your pharmacy, PHARM, and go to your pharmacy, FARM.
I love that. That's a great idea. And I think that this is indicative of the way that they sell us on drugs and on modern treatments, is that they co-opt the language. So I do it too. I call these alternative treatments, but they're really not alternative. They're traditional, right? They've been around for millennia. And the treatments like chemo, radiation, and surgery are called traditional treatments, but they're really not traditional. They've only been around for less than 100 years.
Right.
That's not the definition of traditional. They really are all the alternative. So I think if we go back to the traditional treatments of using food as medicine, which Hippocrates said, that could be the basis of any kind of a treatment protocol for almost any disease. Not that it will cure it, but it will give the body the nutrition that it needs so that it starts to run properly. And the body's really the miracle, Joan. That's what heals. So at the base of any treatment protocol should be a clean, organic diet. Not necessarily all raw, I'm not saying that, but just stop eating the stuff that we know is not nutritional and that can be causing disease. One of the treatment protocols that I learned about last year as I traveled the globe, and you said you'd seen the documentary, The Global Quest, you'll probably remember the visit to Riga, Latvia. And that was a fascinating trip because there I learned about a virus that actually heals cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good virus. Now, we think about bacteria as being bad typically, but we know now that there's over 2/3 of the bacteria in our microbiome in our gut are actually good. They're friendly flora. The same goes with viruses. We have good viruses and we have bad viruses. And a scientist in Riga, Latvia, about 3 decades ago, and her name was Anna Mucenica, she discovered a virus that's a healthy virus that lives in the gut of children. And she isolated that virus, and she extracted this virus and froze it. And that virus has been the basis of what's called Rigvir viral therapy that they are now using in Riga, Latvia. It's a selectively toxic, non-genetically modified virus that goes into the people's bodies, seeks out cancer, and destroys it. And it has now been approved, this healthy virus, no side effects, no toxicity from this virus at all. They don't lose their hair. They don't get sick like chemo. This has been approved by Latvia, by the country of Georgia, and by Armenia as a treatment protocol that can now be used in their hospitals and is covered by their insurance, which is phenomenal to me because, in other words, the Latvian equivalent of the FDA has approved Rigvir to be used as a treatment in every hospital there.
Ty, do you think we'll ever see anything like that in the United States? The type of treatment that you just mentioned?
That's a great question. The optimistic part of me, I'm kind of a glass half full kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to think that we will. I think we're making progress, but the realist in me sees the amount of money that's still being generated by putting people through this chop shop of treatment protocols, and not that people don't go into remission and that people don't live long lives sometimes after going with chemo, radiation, and surgery. But as a general rule, it's not a great treatment, but it's very lucrative. The cynical part of me says maybe not here. I hope that we do, Joan, but there's so much money that's being made off of these treatments. For instance, I got an email a few years ago from a guy that ran a couple of radiation wards. This is before he learned some things that really bothered him and he got out of the business. But he said he was talking to an oncologist one of the times, a radiation oncologist, and they had just gotten a cancer patient in that day. Cancer patient looked like a concentration camp victim, very emaciated from chemotherapy. They wanted to put him on radiation immediately. And he talked to the oncologist and he said, I just don't think it's in the best interest of this cancer patient to put him on radiation right now. I don't think he's going to make it through the treatment. And the oncologist looked him in the eye and he said, the patient's not going to make it, but unless we get in 3 treatments before he dies, we won't get paid. And Joan, as long as that mentality is pervasive throughout the American medical system, especially with cancer treatment, we're not going to see other treatments that come in because they just don't make the money. They just don't provide these lavish lifestyles for the people that are using them.
Ty, what have you learned about some other integrative modalities such as massage, Reiki, hypnotherapy, meditation, essential oils, any of those things in relationship to combating cancer?
Oh, sure. I mean, if you look in the book that I wrote, The Truth About Cancer, there's a fantastic chapter on sound, light, and
Mm-hmm.
frequency and heat. Okay, I visited the Hope for Cancer Institute down in Tijuana, Mexico, and Dr. Antonio Jimenez, he uses sound coupled with light, coupled with frequency machines, coupled with heat to treat and very effectively treat cancer. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I noticed about that clinic down there is the people that were undergoing the treatments were happy people. And that's odd. If you visit an oncology ward here in the United States in your typical cancer treatment hospital, it's not a happy sight, right? It's very dreary. They may have really fancy, comfortable chairs there, but
Mm-hmm.
and expensive televisions, but the people don't really look all that happy and healthy. But these people that were being treated with sound, light, electricity, frequency, heat, they were extremely happy people and were just so grateful that they were feeling good and they were healing. And I know many of his patients that have gone through his treatment and are very, very healthy afterwards. That's one of the ones that just really blew me away. There's also a chapter on essential oils. Essential oils are great. As a matter of fact, I don't know of a single essential oil that doesn't have some sort of anti-cancer effect. But the big ones are, frankincense and myrrh are 2 big ones that have anti-cancer effects. Now, I'm not making any claims about them from a medicinal perspective. I'm just saying we have done research. There have been peer-reviewed scientific studies that have shown that both frankincense and myrrh have an effect on cancer cells, whether they cause cancer cells to create apoptosis and die, program cell death, whether they stop angiogenesis, which is the creation of new blood vessels, which a cancer tumor can't live unless it creates new blood vessels. They all have that effect. Very effective at treating brain cancers, by the way, because they both pass through the blood-brain barrier. And that's just 2 essential oils. I mean, you look at lavender, lemongrass, wintergreen, lemon, peppermint. I mean, any essential oil, they have anti-inflammatory effects. And we're seeing now in the recent peer-reviewed research that chronic disease has a direct tie to chronic inflammation. And so all of these essential oils cause the inflammation to stop or to decrease. And just by that very fact alone there, we can see that they could have an effect on chronic diseases like cancer, because without that chronic inflammation, the chronic diseases don't have as much of a foothold in the body. So again, not making claims that they directly cure cancer. My assertion is this, Joan. The only thing that cures cancer is the body. What our goal should be is to provide the body with the nutrition that it needs, with the frequencies that it needs, with the sound that it needs, with the light that it needs, with potentially the essential oils that it needs, so that it stops the chronic inflammation, so that the immune system works properly, it functions the way that we were made to. And in the end, it's the body that does the healing. Nothing else does the healing. All the other stuff is just ammunition, right? It's the body that does the healing. It's like if you have a Formula One race car and you put Kool-Aid in the engine, it's not going to run very well. If you put the right fuel in it, it will.
To add to what you're saying, everything that we're talking about today, these are tools, as you said, to get the body to run well. But the important messaging is there are options available, and people need to educate themselves, advocate for themselves, learn all that they can, and then make decisions for the best care for themselves and their situation. And that's really the message of your work and my purpose. Just educate yourself and empower yourself.
It is. That is my message. That's the message of The Truth About Cancer, is to educate, number one, and expose and eradicate cancer once and for all. And so in educating, sometimes we have to expose the lies, and there's just a lot of lies that we've been told, and one of the lies is you don't have options, when the reality is, the truth is, you do have a heck of a lot of options. And we believe that people are smart enough to be able to make good decisions on their own, and that being that we live in the land of the free, the home of the brave, we should not have medical choices forced down our throat against our will. We're big boys and big girls. We should be able to make up our own mind. And that's really our whole goal with The Truth About Cancer, is just to give people information and knowledge and educate them so they can make up their own mind.
The book is The Truth About Cancer, What You Need to Know About Cancer's History, Treatment, and Prevention. And if you'd like to get more information about the book or about Ty or anything else about this topic, you can visit his website, thetruthaboutcancer.com. Ty, in our final moments, what is the takeaway? What is the one thing that you really want to leave our listeners with?
I want to leave your listeners with hope, because that's what's missing in modern cancer treatments today. We're so oftentimes told if we're diagnosed with cancer, you're dead in 3 months, you're dead in 6 months. That leaves you no hope. And we know that the emotions and that the psyche, that trauma, emotional trauma like that, does have an effect physically. So my message to cancer patients is never give up. There's always hope. Just because you've been diagnosed with cancer doesn't mean it's a death sentence. There are a lot of things that you can do from a naturalistic perspective, from a food perspective. Just educate yourself about these things and realize that it's not necessarily a death sentence, that what you do, the things that you eat, that you drink, your mental state actually has an epigenetic effect on your body and on your health, and you can turn cancer around.
Ty, thank you so much for being here. As I said in the beginning, ever since I found out about your work, I wanted to have you here because I believe everything that you are out teaching people. So I'm so happy that you were here. And I just want to once again leave our listeners with, knowledge is power, and power gives you hope. So always find your options and just do what's best for yourself. But like you said, don't ever believe that there's one road and you have no hope, because there's always hope. When there's life, there's hope. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, John. I've really enjoyed the show.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, take part in the book club, check out our team, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.